Hi, so in this video I'm going to tell you a little bit about what you can expect to see in the CS112 week 12 test on Friday. Let's begin by saying that the test does cover everything from weeks 1 to 11 inclusive, although it's fair to say that there is quite a focus on inheritance and on the latter part of the term. So let's look at some of the things that you can expect to encounter. So it would really be a good idea if you have a good understanding of coupling and cohesion and how one balances the other out. Now, there will be some fairly simple pieces of code, so code fragments where we have some information that goes in. You have a little piece of code and you have to decide what comes out, pretty much the same as what we had in the term 1 week 12 test. You'll need to understand a bit about JUnit tests, and you'll need to if you're given a particular scenario, you would need to be able to choose which would be the correct asserts in that particular scenario. Let's have a look, what else have we got here? Yep, once again on JUnit tests, so you would need to be able to determine what is or what isn't a negative test. So if you're given a scenario and a number of potential tests, you'll have to decide which one is maybe a negative test. In terms of inheritance, you'll need to understand about subclasses and be able to describe a subclass, choose the correct subclass from a set of information you're given. You also need to be able to understand concepts of abstract and concrete classes, and you'll need to understand about overriding of methods. And in terms of each of those different topics, you may or may not be given some little scenarios, so some pieces of code that are either incomplete or the code is there and you have to decide what the output would be based on the fact that you're being examined on inheritance, etc. Yeah, and once again, much more on inheritance. So I think it's fair to say that inheritance, abstract classes, concrete classes, those sort of things do feature very, very heavily in this test. And yeah, and interfaces and how interfaces are implemented. And we need to look at passing of parameters, in particular bearing in mind subclasses and superclasses. And we need to know about private instance variables, public instance variables in terms of subclasses and superclasses. Useful to understand some of the methods of AWT. So there's a little bit on GUI, not an awful lot, but there will be some methods you'll have to be able to at least recognise. And you would have to be able to look at exception handling and action listeners. And once again, so you need to understand a bit about subclasses and runtime exceptions. Now, so in this test there are 15 multiple choice questions and then 7 short answer questions. So what I've covered previously, or in the first part of this talk, was the kind of thing that you may expect to see in the multiple choice questions. In terms of the short answer questions, it may well be that you are given a scenario and you have to discuss how to build a constructor and get uncertain methods, that sort of thing, in a scenario. given some code in a scenario describing parent-child relationships. So once again, parent-child relationships relate to inheritance, and you would have to be able to draw a class diagram from that. Right, and you need to be able to write some code to demonstrate a little inheritance scenario. Once again, and then in terms of Java Swing, it may be that you're given some code with some missing method that you'll have to be able to identify what the correct method should be. Just the name of the method signature, I think, here. And a little bit about scanners and arrays. So basically, those are the kind of things you can expect to see in the week 12 test Friday. It's a timed multiple choice and short answer test. It'll be available for a short time on Friday morning, and you'll get some communication over the next day or two on the time the test will be available at, how long you get to do the test, that sort of thing. Okay, thanks for watching.